Okay, we've got our auth guard in place and it's protecting our members component just now, but not the other ones. And imagine we had many components that we wanted to use this auth guard on, then we could just add it to each different route, but there is an alternative approach and I'll just demonstrate that. We can create a kind of dummy route, and just below the home component I'm going to add another route and bring it down and say path, and I'm going to use empty quotes as this isn't going to be a real route, it's just a route we're going to add look and have child routes. And inside here I'm going to use the run guards and resolvers and specify always, and we're going to specify our can activate and set it to be the auth guard. And then following this we can have child routes of this route, and we can provide an array of routes that we want to be protected by this auth guard. So we can take all of the routes that we think should be a user should be authenticated to use, and I'm going to cut these and paste them into the children array of routes. And then I just need to add a comma after this one and tidy things up. So because the path is just an empty string, that means our routes do not change. We still go to localhost /members or lists or whatever, and we don't need the auth guard on the members one either anymore, as that's going to be protected. I say protected in air quotes because it's not really protection, and we've got this auth guard in place for all of our child routes here. So let's go and take a look and make sure this is working. So the members or the matches route is protected, the lists, and so is the messages. So, and let's just confirm that when I log in as an authenticated user, that I can still get to all of these different components, and I can do. So that's nice and simple. And just one other change I want to make at this point as well. I need to go back to the nav component HTML anyway, as I want to put back in place what we had before with the condition to check to see if we're authenticated. Now we're going to add routes a bit later where I do want anonymous users to be able to see them, but currently we've got our conditional surrounding the entire unordered list. And in a previous version of this course I did demonstrate the fact that we could use ng-container at this point, and I would put the list items inside this ng container, and then I would use the ng-if on the ng container itself, because the ng container is really just a container for other HTML elements, and this doesn't output the ng container into the outputted HTML. But we don't really need to use this now because we have the built-in control flow. So instead of using ng container, I still want to have these list items as inside this conditional, but I also want the freedom to add other list items where anonymous users can go to those links. So I'm going to move the conditional here inside the unordered list and take the closing curly brackets and just put it after the closing list item there. And that means I can just add, if I want to, list items below list that are still going to be parts of this same unordered list as well. So I'm just moving the conditional inside here, and I feel these list items should be moved further inside. And let's just make sure nothing is broken, and I can still see the links, and if I log out then the links should still disappear. So one more task to go before we finish this section, and we're going to change our theme. We're going to make our app a bit more colourful, and we'll take a look at that next.